I saw Muhammad, peace be upon him, in the Bible. His name was just flying in front of my eyes from the pages of the Bible. It is a story of a Jew who converts to Islam after 60 years. Yes, after 60 years of serving the Jewish community. Let's deep dive into the story today, from Judaism to the fold of Islam. Hey everyone, this is Cleofe again, your host at the Cleofe podcast. Let's listen to the deep dive on this journey. Please like and subscribe to this channel, as I know you all like it and want to tune in every day. That's the reason that we try to bring a deep dive on a daily basis. Hey Jack and Wilson, now it is all yours.
Imagine dedicating your whole life, really, to searching for truth. You're raised in one faith, but you're always looking deeper, and then suddenly at 60, you find a path you never ever expected. Well, today we're doing a deep dive into exactly that kind of extraordinary personal journey. We're focusing on the incredible story of Sanford Pass, who's now known as Abu Mujahid. After, 6 decades of searching spiritually, intellectually, he converted to Islam. And the amazing part, he was guided by connections he found right within the Bible, a text he'd already studied so much.
That's right. And our main source here is a really compelling interview with him from the YouTube channel Towards Eternity. It's just a fascinating account. And this isn't just like a simple conversion narrative. It's really an exploration of that deep spiritual searching, critical thinking, and how truth can sometimes show up in really surprising ways, when you're genuinely open.
Absolutely. So for you listening, our mission today is to kind of peel back the layers here. We want to look at those specific moments, the key insights, and especially those scriptural connections that led to such a profound change for him. You might have some real aha moments yourself because, honestly, his perspective on faith, history, the world, it might just challenge some of your own assumptions. Yeah. Okay, let's unpack this. So Abu Mujahid's story, it starts with his foundations. Born mid-20th century, conservative American Jewish parents. He grew up with that core belief, Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one. Observing kosher laws, the Sabbath. He even remembers Friday night services fondly, that feeling of, monotheistic unity. Sounds like a solid grounding.
Oh, definitely. A very strong foundation. But even within that, seeds of doubt or maybe just intense curiosity started pretty early. He talks about his bar mitzvah, for instance, as a kind of turning point. He felt it was less about understanding the meaning and more about, memorizing lines for a performance.
Right. That feeling of going through the motions without the deep connection.
Exactly. He wanted that inner...
I apologize for interrupting the deep dive. Are you or someone you know struggling to land a job? Check out the ATS Resume Optimizer. I created this tool myself, and for just $5 a month, you get unlimited tailored resumes, mock interview prep, and a resume health score to boost your chances. Transform your job search today. Link in the description. Let's get back to the deep dive.
He wanted that inner meaning, and not finding it left him feeling like, something's not quite right here.
And there was another key moment around 13, wasn't there? A choice he had to make.
Yeah, the choice between a big birthday party or a trip to Israel. He chose the party. And looking back, he actually said he was grateful to Allah for that choice because he came to believe that trip was really about trying to brainwash Jewish kids into a specific viewpoint.
Yeah.
That's quite a take for a 13-year-old.
It really is. It shows that questioning mind was already active, and then something major happened when he was 14.
Yes, the assassination of JFK. That event, he says, just triggered this massive questioning of everything, not just faith, but society, politics, the whole narrative. He explicitly said it put him on the path to start looking for what's really going on in this world. He wasn't going to just accept things anymore.
So this wasn't just teenage angst. It was a real drive. And it led him to explore beyond Judaism quite seriously. He dropped out of college, right? And then spent years in a monastery.
Yeah, 3 years, actually. Became Christian, studied the Bible really intensely. But he left the monastery, too. Why? Because he found what he called too many contradictions. He was after absolute truth, and inconsistencies just didn't sit right with him.
Still searching.
Still searching. After that, he studied meditation with a young teacher from India, trying to connect with the energy that moves the universe. But again, that feeling, something isn't right with the system. He even lived on a farm for a bit in Tennessee, just seeking honesty, authenticity. It really shows his early life. A genuine seeker often has to challenge things, step off the easy path. That curiosity was powerful.
You really see that thread, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
The relentless quest. And this commitment to truth, it seems like it manifested in some pretty extraordinary ways, even physically. before his conversion. He talks about these moments of, well, divine intervention. He calls them, like that terrifying incident on the Ohio Turnpike in '71.
Oh, that story is just wild. Hitchhiking, a driver stops, then suddenly floors it with his hand caught in the door handle.
He's literally flying alongside the car at like 70, 75 miles per hour.
Unbelievable. What did he say it felt like?
He described everything slowing right down, being in this cocoon of light and hearing voices clearly saying, not yet, and the outcome, miraculous, really. No broken bones, just gravel in his hands, a cut chin. He just got treated at a turnpike hospital and kept going.
Wow, just kept going. And that wasn't the only close call, was it? The seagull incident.
Right. On a 12-story hotel roof in Miami Beach, a mother seagull attacks him. He backs up instinctively.
Oh, no.
And feels his foot go right off the edge. He's tilting over the Atlantic. Then he says he felt this distinct big hand push him firmly back onto the roof.
Yeah.
Saved him.
Incredible. And how did he eventually come to understand these moments? Well, later, after converting, he looked back and saw these as Allah actively saving his life, showing his closeness even then, guiding him. They became these signposts on his journey, only really understood in hindsight. Makes you wonder about our own lives, those moments that maybe redirect us.
Absolutely. Okay, so years of searching, these profound experiences, but what was the final piece? What actually triggered the shift? He's around 60, successful career, family. Then his son calls him.
Yeah, that call seems to have been the real catalyst. His son basically said, Dad, if you look in the Bible, in the gospel, you're going to find Muhammad. Look here and here and here. So Abu Mujahid prayed, opened the book, and he describes the words just popped out at him, like they were three-dimensional, shining out.
Which word specifically?
He points first to Deuteronomy 18.18. That verse talks about a prophet like Moses who, not going to say anything of himself. He's going to say what he's given to say.
That idea of being like Moses is significant, isn't it?
Yeah.
It suggests more than just a spiritual teacher, maybe a lawgiver.
Exactly. And he immediately connected that phrasing, not going to say anything of himself, say what he's given to say. He linked that directly to the Gospel of John, chapter 16, verse 13. That's where Jesus, peace be upon him, talks about the Spirit of truth, who will come. And again, he's not going to say anything but what's given to him to say. And he's going to lead you to the rest of the truth.
Wow, that parallel phrasing is striking.
For him, it was undeniable. It directly mirrored the Islamic understanding of prophets as vessels for God's exact word. He saw it pointing straight to Muhammad, peace be upon him.
Okay, so Old Testament, New Testament. But there was another one, another Deuteronomy passage that really seemed to solidify it, involving geography.
Yes, Deuteronomy 33, verse 2. It says, the sun was coming up over Sinai, came up higher over Seir, and crested at Purim. And his decoding of this is fascinating. Sinai, obviously, where Moses, peace be upon him, received the law. Seir, he connects to where Jesus, peace be upon him, ministered and overcame temptation. And Paran. He discovered Paran as an ancient name for Mecca, the birthplace of Muhammad, peace be upon him. So for Abu Mujahid, that verse literally mapped out the progression of prophecy geographically. Moses, Jesus, Muhammad, it just clicked.
That's a perspective changer.
Yeah.
And his reaction was instant.
Completely. He said, when I saw that, I could not unsee it anymore. And he stresses he wasn't looking to become Muslim. He would have laughed at the idea minutes before. But this just hit him. It resonated, too, with his earlier skepticism. Like around 9/11, he'd already concluded the official story was physically impossible for Muslims to carry out and was defending them to friends. So his mind was already open to questioning dominant narratives.
So why then? Why did this insight land so powerfully after decades?
He describes feeling this definite presence, not a voice, but this clear, unmistakable understanding. This is the answer to what you were asking for when you were 14. It tied everything together, his lifelong questions about what's really going on, the inconsistencies he found elsewhere. It all suddenly made sense through this lens. He called it a one-way street. No turning back.
So after this profound realization, he took the Shahada, the declaration of faith. What was that like for him, that moment of formally embracing Islam?
He just felt completely fresh, like starting fresh. He felt welcomed, forgiven by Allah. And he learned something powerful, that when you take Shahada, not only are past sins wiped clean, but even your bad deeds can be transformed into good deeds on your record. It's a total spiritual reset.
That sounds incredibly liberating. And you mentioned earlier there were physical sensations, too.
Oh, yeah. Really intense ones. He described tears literally flying out of my eyes like birds, like he could see them projecting outwards. His rib cage felt like it was physically opening up like doors, like French doors, and his heart felt like it was exploding. But he said, not painfully, but in a good way.
Wow.
It was this overwhelming feeling that Allah had guided his entire life, every step, every detour, to this exact moment. And suddenly, all those questions he'd carried since he was a kid, they were answered. It all makes sense now, he said, just total clarity.
An incredible peak experience. But of course, life goes on after moments like that. How did his family, his friends, react to this huge change?
Well, as you might expect, it was really mixed and difficult. Some family members just stop speaking to him or, are only civil at big gatherings but avoid the topic completely. Others stay in touch but won't discuss his faith. Some old friends literally think he's gone crazy.
That must be tough.
Yeah. But then some others have accepted him. He kind of feels that maybe as time goes on and world events keep unfolding, more people might start questioning things themselves and maybe understand his path a bit more. But yeah, there was definitely a personal cost.
And despite that cost, the friction, the lost connections, any regrets?
Absolutely none. He's crystal clear. Never. He admits it's been hard sometimes, sure, but he has never regretted becoming Muslim. He's even thought about why Allah might have let him search for, 60 years. Maybe it was so he'd appreciate the truth more deeply when he found it, or maybe to gain all that varied life experience so he could connect with different kinds of people and help them understand Islam better.
A sense of purpose in the long journey itself.
Exactly. And there's another beautiful story related to that. After converting, he made a specific prayer asking Allah for a pious wife, someone who wasn't materialistic.
Okay.
So he gets introduced to a sister in the community. She comes over to his place. He's showing her around, and just completely out of the blue, she says, "I'm not a materialistic person." The exact thing he'd prayed for, words he hadn't shared with anyone but God.
Wow. That's uncanny.
Isn't it? They married soon after. And for him,
Yes.
that was just such a clear, direct sign from Allah confirming his path, affirming that connection. Just beautiful.
It really is.
Yeah.
Now, this deep dive also touched on his broader worldview, shaped by this whole journey. From his perspective now, what does he see as the ultimate goal, say, for someone of Jewish faith?
It's a unique perspective. He believes the highest aim for a Jew is to recognize that they're essentially two prophets short of the whole story, meaning Jesus and Muhammad, peace be upon them, and to accept them, which in his view means becoming Muslim. He kind of sees Judaism and Christianity as brands, specific interpretations, while Islam is like the water without a brand on it. Pure submission to the one God, peace, a mission not tied to a person's name. So for him, becoming Muslim is the natural completion.
That's a striking analogy.
Yeah.
He also shared some very strong views on contemporary issues, particularly concerning Israel and global politics. And just to be clear for everyone listening, we're relaying these views as presented in the source material, not endorsing them, but reporting on his perspective.
Right, absolutely. It's part of understanding his worldview. He does acknowledge different views within Israel itself, from anti-Zionist Orthodox Jews to others. But his own analysis, stemming from that lifelong critical thinking, leads him to some strong conclusions. He expresses the view that dominant forces are, in his words, starving the Palestinians and expanding operations in what he terms a genocide.
He also mentioned the concept of Greater Israel.
Yes, he sees this idea expanding borders from the Nile to the Euphrates as part of a larger plan to establish a new world order headquarters. He also claims that Zionist influences heavily control the U.S. government, pointing to things like proposed legislation, criminalizing criticism of Israel as evidence. He even draws a parallel to Germany in 1933, suggesting Muslims are the new scapegoats.
And this ties back to his earlier questioning of major events.
It does. He sees events like the JFK assassination, Vietnam, 9/11, not as isolated incidents, but as choreographed, planned steps in a much larger long-term agenda. Again, these are his interpretations, born from his particular way of analyzing the world, connecting perceived dots across history and politics. It's crucial we present this impartially.
Understood. It certainly shows how his search for truth extended into every area. So looking back at this whole incredible journey, the Jewish upbringing, the constant questioning, the monastery, the near-death experiences, their scriptural revelations at 60, the embrace of Islam, it's quite a life. If he had just, say, 1 minute, a Super Bowl ad slot, what would his core message be to everyone?
After all that complexity, his message would be beautifully simple. Peace be with everybody. He'd invite people to find their birthright, which he sees as recognizing the truth. There is no deity worthy of worship but the one God who's making your heart beat now. And that Muhammad, peace be upon him, is God's final messenger, foretold by Moses and Jesus, peace be upon them, and even hinted at in other scriptures like the Vedas. His call is basically, learn what Islam is and come home.
Come home. Powerful. This whole deep dive really highlights how one person's relentless, honest search for truth can lead down completely unexpected paths, challenging everything they thought they knew about faith, about history, about reality itself. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What hidden connections, what unexamined assumptions might be shaping your understanding of the world right now? What new perspectives might open up you started looking for those shining words in places you never thought to look?
Thank you for joining us for today's podcast. I hope you've gained some valuable insights. If you're a truth seeker, yearning for divine light and ready to step out of darkness, now is your moment. The truth is that Allah is the one and only creator of the universe. He has sent over 124,000 messengers and prophets to guide humanity, starting with Adam and culminating with the final messenger, Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon them all. If you resonate with this message, you might be ready to embrace Islam. Simply recite the Shahada, the Islamic declaration of faith. For further support, feel free to join our WhatsApp group. You can send us a private message there. The link is in the video description. Don't wait until it's too late. We look forward to connecting with you soon.